What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Gamers for Life podcast, where each and every Saturday we discuss all things games. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrell. With me is my co-host, my right-hand man, my ABXY, Arthur. What is happening, my man?
Not much. Well, sort of. I'm really happy because Battlefield 1 blew up.
Yeah?
Really happy about that. Because
Nice.
everyone's excited for Battlefield 2042. So Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 blew up again. So, yeah, I stayed up till 9 in the morning with my friend Victor, who's in Japan. Fucking riding horses and motorcycles and honking at tanks.
Very nice. Yeah, survived another fucking crazy week of heat. It's like, what the, like, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of heat naps.
Yeah.
For those of the idea is when you're a fat guy and it's too hot, your body doesn't want to exist.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck you, go back to sleep.
You start rethinking everything. You're like, why did I do that?
Yeah, it's like 2 in the
My life has changed.
It's like 2 in the afternoon, and it's like, I got nothing to do. Fuck it. I go back to sleep with Netflix in the background.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of heat naps have happened this week. So if you're watching us, hello. Be sure to like and subscribe on the YouTube. Really helps us out. We have a lot of great content here on Gamers for Life podcast. And then if you want to listen to the podcast instead, if you want to support the podcast, if you prefer using Apple Music, Spotify, even if you want to check out the Twitch that Arthur manages, all of those links are available on streamerlinks.com/gamers for life. Of course, I'll have a little title card here that'll come up. So you just go there, streamerlinks.com/gamers for life. It takes you to all of those links to check out the podcast. So please be sure to do that. Because, there's a lot of great content that's available there and that we're going to be giving you guys. And speaking of great content here, we have a returning guest here. He is the main host for the Music Buds podcast. He's been on a couple of our podcasts here for the Gamers for Life podcast already. The Gamers for Life podcast is, of course, happy to have back Preston Bud.
Hi, Bud.
From the Music
What's
Buds.
up, guys?
What's happening, buddy?
Thank you for the round of applause. It feels good on this side.
Hey, no problem, man. It's just like a stupid sound bite until it's like delivered towards you, or like, oh man, like
I feel great. This is awesome. I need more positive reinforcement. In my life.
Like I've interviewed guitar players that have like performed in front of like hundreds of thousands of people, and they're just like, oh man, that applause, that fake applause sound feels nice.
That was great. Someone high-fived me today. I feel good.
And then of course you're seeing the camera for seeing us, but there's actual cameras that people on YouTube will be able to watch. But what's going on, man? How you doing?
Everything's good. You mean long work weeks and all, but podcast is doing good. The Music Buds, once again,
Nice.
home for album reviews of albums that you never heard of.
That's right.
So if you are looking for new music, especially hip-hop music, come check us out. Jarrell is consistently on every episode. So if you aren't tired of Jarrell, come over there and get some more Jarrell.
Yeah, if you want another dimension of me, a very crass, idiocentric, crazy man, check us out on Music Buds.
Nice. And to be a part of this conversation, I have to re-Google what idiocentric fucking means.
I was just gonna act like I knew what it meant.
I'm not even sure if I use it in the right context, but fuck it, we're here.
No, I'm up front when I'm done with shit. Like, yeah, I'm. Like you're. I couldn't say the word compartmentalized.
Oh yeah.
One time,
yeah,
I was like, that shit.
Wasn't that the last episode?
Yeah. We're talking about politics and gaming, and I was
Like,
like,
yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
that thing you said. Yeah.
yeah. It needs to be that.
Very cool. But yeah, as Preston's already said, definitely check out the Music Buds when you get the chance. There's a new episode available today. So after you check out Gamers for Life, be sure to swing over to Music Buds. Good friend Chris Lopez, CeeLo, is with us on the show as well for that episode as well. So really a fun one. Definitely check it out. And here on the Gamers for Life podcast, we read the news while you can watch or listen to what you choose by clicking on the links of the time codes within the description for every episode. So definitely veer over to the description for the YouTube if you want to, check out a certain segment. A lot of crazy news has happened this week. Yeah. Or if you just want to, go to, if you're listening to Spotify, there are hyperlinks in the description that you can click on, takes you directly there. I can't speak to Apple Music too much, or Apple Podcasts rather, but yeah, definitely do that. And just, I guess, starting off, going in. I won't say going in raw dog, but just starting from the top here, we wanted to continue start the show with the state of play. So, because we didn't talk about it last week, because when we did the recording, state of play was happening. Yeah. Obviously, we have our PlayStation guru here, Preston, with us to figure out PlayStation, because there's just a lot of figuring out we have to do. From these past couple of months / years of really interesting decisions. But
I wish there was something to figure out, because I've been listening to you guys, and literally every episode's pretty much been an Xbox episode. And I'm just like, shit, like there's nothing I could say. like PlayStation's fucking up.
we don't want to give bad news. There's just bad news that we happen to report. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I think Arthur wants to. He tries to promote Game Pass to me every chance he gets for some reason. I don't need to be sold, Arthur.
I want my friends the game and save money. What?
Well, if you want to save money, this is not the platform for the PlayStation State of Play. But
look at all those games you have to fucking pay for.
So, and to re-preface is because I feel like we have to do this a lot. We're not PlayStation haters. Like I start my favorite console is PlayStation 2. It's my favorite console of all time. PlayStation is really what brought me into gaming, but it's just, and that just shows how much more passionate and angry I am when there's bad decisions being made.
For me, I think I have to start being honest. I'm not a PlayStation hater. I'm just more and more becoming a PlayStation laugher. Where I'll just look at what they're doing and just laugh.
You're the laughing guy in the sitcom shows.
Yeah, I'll be the guy that like it's like when they announce like a huge quote unquote gaming decision, and it's like we know what the players want. And AI to make the game easier, and like the crowd's silent. I'm just the one that stands up, fucking laughing.
That absolutely reminded me of that Diablo mobile trailer.
Yeah, is this an off-season April Fool's joke?
Classic.
Oh my god! All right, so let me start off here.
State of play.
It looks like for the state of play. So this is a weird link, just because, how PlayStation Blog has it, because they don't really have like a full paragraph that I can read. So there's little snippets here, which I'm like, great. But
we're even trying to use your site, Sony. God damn it.
But to kind of summarize here, so it says here in quote, this is a PlayStation Blog. So it says here in quote, 90 minutes with Deathloop plus first looks at Moss Book 2, Arcade-ageddon, and more. So the first thing, they started off the state of play with Moss Book 2, where it says here in quote, Quill returns in his intriguing follow-up to one of the most beloved PSVR titles of all time. Get your first look in today's brand of the new trailer, which I checked that out, and it seems interesting. I didn't know it was a PSVR game until after the the trailer.
Yeah, real quick, I didn't know there was a VR game either, because it just looked like a normal platformer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it looked like Raspro. What's that cartoon character? The old cartoon character with the mouse and the ears and the little sword. There was like a movie.
Oh, from Tom and Jerry?
No, not Tom and Jerry. Not they parried that, but like I don't know. It was like
did he have no arms?
No.
I'm thinking of Rayman.
No. But no, there was there's like an old school like kids book like. There was a movie too. It's like a little mouse, big ears, and a little sword.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like Raspro or something like that.
You get really quick before we go off to. Oh, well, I'm gonna slightly go off topic here, but you guys remember Maximo? You guys remember those games? The Maximo games? They're on PlayStation.
Was Maximo a cat
platformer? No, it's just like a little dude with a sword, and he's like fucking shit up. It's pretty crazy.
I don't know why. When I hear Maximo, my brain just thinks of a fat cat.
I wish they brought it back, but anyway. Cool platformer. But so the next thing they had here was Arcade-ageddon, which kind of seemed like a techno futuristic version of Fortnite, in my opinion.
I was thinking it was like if you ever play Splatoon, the way it looked, it just kind of looked like a more mature Splatoon.
Yeah,
that's the vibe I was getting from it.
Splatoon with neon.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, interesting. And it says early access begins. I guess it began last Thursday for the kaleidoscopically chaotic loot-based shooter. But yeah, I definitely had like futuristic Fortnite vibes on that. And then the next thing they showed was Tribes Midgard, Season 1, The Wolf Saga. So it says Norsefell Games action RPG launches on July 27th. But that's just the beginning, and the team dives into the post-launch plans in its state of play update. And that looked kind of interesting. One thing that I found interesting too, there was a post that Sony made before the state of play happened, right? And they basically said that they were going to show a bunch of trailers talking about how they support indie, right? Because they've previously had a bunch of a lot of pushback from a lot of different like developers and whatnot of how they don't support indie. Like,
yeah, there is that quote unquote whistleblowing, which I don't think should be labeled whistleblowing. Any developer is like, yeah, this fucking sucks.
Yeah. So I think they were trying to show like, no, like we really do care about indie. I don't know if that message was in general like kind of like conveyed, but to continue on here, this is the only like thing that was interesting between this and Deathloop: The Fist, Forge in Shadow Torch, where there's like this crazy rabbit with like a robotic suit. So it says here in quote, Robo Rabbit Rayton takes center stage in his exciting look and his combat abilities, aided by his giant mechanical arm, explore his unique world on PS4 and PS5 September 7th. Kind of reminded me of like Bionic Commando.
Yeah.
But a rabbit?
Definitely like old like Strider vibes and shit.
Yeah, like futuristic, but you play a rabbit. Like,
but wait, you said that was the only other thing you were interested in other than Deathloop?
Because visually it looked really interesting, and then like the music and stuff too. Like the vibe was really different. Like, I mean, I like platformers, but it's like,
Preston, are we both talking about Sifu?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, Sifu.
Obviously. Yes, Sifu obviously.
Okay.
Obviously is amazing. But I feel like I didn't see anything new with Sifu. I think they showed a few more things, but
I feel like the thing with Sifu, it reminds me of that old fucking Jackie Chan game on 64, but a lot better.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. That's a good point. Yeah. And then it says here in quote, fight, fall, fight again. In this latest look at Slow Clap's Kung Fu beat 'em up. Each time the hero gets KO'd, he does rise again, but ages each time. Excited to learn more as we close in on the game's 2022 release. So I guess it's coming out next year here for Sifu. So sooner it comes out, the better, because I definitely want to play that.
I want to look like the master from Kill Bill Volume 2. He's like a 4 foot long fucking mustache.
It's going to be interesting because I feel like already there's going to be the gameplay walkthroughs of people trying to finish the game as young as possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's Hunter Arena Legends, which they showed.
Also looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, I don't know why that kind of like wasn't under my radar, but it says here in quote, leap into 30-player melee matches when Hunter's Arena joins PlayStation Plus August 3rd. This combat and systems overview could be the edge you need on launch day.
That was the battle royale that was like all like melee sword combat, right?
Yeah, but it looked like a mix of like Final Fantasy-ish, like there was ability based and stuff.
Aesthetic wise, it kind of reminded me of Dynasty Warriors, but again, that might just because we saw.
I can see that too.
That just might be because we saw like that one Chinese halberd thing, you know, like that weird. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that makes me about it is because it's I like its basis, but like I'm worried it might just fall under the rug of another battle royale.
That's kind of my worry personally, because I mean, I'm glad Preston's really passionate about it.
It looks like for me again, like it looks good.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that like for me, I feel like we're at the stage now. It's like almost to a point with an asterisk. It's like regardless of quality, because the Battlefield market's so saturated that even good games now might just get swept under.
Yeah.
But what kind of melee-based fighting game do you know that's battle royale?
Again, I don't, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not.
That's the thing.
That's my
Like,
thing. Is like whether it's what like my thing is like just the fact it's a battle royale. That's worries me. It might get swept under. Like, I think it's. I hope
that
it
2 years ago.
I hope it.
Battle.
I hope it does well.
Yeah.
But I just don't like. I just don't want how to go about this. I don't want Fortnite to kill another fucking good game. You know what I mean?
This is like two completely different like audiences. I'm not
Yeah.
too worried about that because the thing that
I think you got a
I
point,
stopped worrying about battle royales like 2-3 years ago when every battle royale that was coming out was a shooting game, and it was just like, all right, like how much can you change this? Apex was fun for me for a little bit. The only thing I'm worried about with this game is when there's that many players in a melee focused game, like how do you balance that? Because even with something like with For Honor,
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna
just
say For Honor.
4v4, and like
Yeah.
you're either gonna get jumped or people are gonna be spamming you with stuff, and then there's like the whole animations between stuff. You might just get stuck and like stun locked the
Yeah.
whole fucking, like that's what I'm worried about.
Get stuck in the chaos.
Yeah. And like not being able to press a button.
Valid points.
I press square. I swear. Fuck.
And then the next thing it looks like it showed was Jet the Far Shore. So it says here in quote, thoughtful exploration and an inquisitive atmosphere makes this adventure stand out. Learn more about the game's laid back approach in the state of the play trailer. Did that resonate with any of you guys?
It reminded me of Flower. You remember that game where you're just like a flat? Remember on PS3?
Yeah.
It's just like a very. It's almost. I can't put my finger on it. It's almost like the video game equivalent of ASMR.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
floating through, being calming.
That was,
Like,
that was a shot.
Work was an absolute shit today. Yeah, I'm flying around. My life's good. Oh man, I got a checkpoint.
Hey, man, PlayStation has some great ASMR games. Fuck you.
That wasn't an insult.
No, you're not wrong.
Let's see Xbox do that.
Yeah, where's your ASMR?
No, that wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't an insult. That was just
Yeah.
just trying to describe it. It's
You're right,
Like there's
though.
no like. Or at least what it felt like. It was almost like. I mean, yeah, I know there's gonna be a story, but like gameplay wise, there's no combat.
I mean, Journey was kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a little more gameplay, but yeah, like the music was like super like great. But
Yeah, the gameplay they showed just again it reminded me of a lot of Flower. For those of you that aren't familiar with the game Flower, it's just that you're like a flower petal flying around trying to collect more flower petals, and then eventually you have a train of like 20 flowers. You're like, this is really pretty.
Yeah.
Man, today wasn't that bad.
It's way better than Game Pass. So continuing on here, there's this was one of the most interesting things too. The Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles. So that was shown. The game for that says here.
Nailed it.
I'm gonna say nice pronunciation.
Hey, I've been trying. I'm probably gonna fuck it up here on this description, but it says here Tanjiro and the Susumi Mansion episode in this latest look at the Aniplex's upcoming anime adventure. See, the popular series comes to PS4 on October 15th. And that game looks pretty cool. I know you were kind of more familiar with the Demon Slayer series in general. What were your thoughts on that?
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
But it's weird because like I'm in the category where I watch anime, I like anime, but I don't buy the anime games. Sometimes. I think like DBZ is my only asterisk to that.
Yeah.
But then again, I haven't bought a DBZ game in years.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Preston? Are you a fan of Demon Slayer series?
It looks cool. I mean, I never watched Demon Slayer yet. I've been meaning to get to it, just never got around to it yet.
He's on Netflix.
I'm gonna check it out. But I think with this game, I want to see more because I've been feeling like with a lot of anime games, they've all just been like variations on Naruto Shippuden series, and it's like it all fights the same. It's just different characters. Even Jump Force, like Jump Force is like better graphics, but it fights like Naruto.
Yeah,
like it doesn't really change up the mechanics.
There's no been like big like revolutionary big mechanic change for a long
it's like
time.
all the anime games play the same. Even My Hero Academia, Jump Force, Naruto Shippuden, like they all have the same like mechanic to it, and it's like square, 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 triangle, 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 X is jump, and then like, and it's just like,
dude, square, square, triangle, triangle. Oh, Big Bang. No, Final Flash, Vegeta. Back in Budokai days, if I can remember that shit, which was really random. I will say it's bullshit because back in Budokai, I always picked Vegeta. My friend always picked Goku.
Yeah.
You were able to block mid combo with Vegeta's moves, and you couldn't block for Goku.
Oh,
so since I was always Vegeta, it always fucking pissed me off. I never did Big Bang Attack. I always had to do Final Flash.
Oh, that's lame.
But on a side note,
get good, Arthur.
no, you're able to block mid combo. Like the combo is square, square, triangle, triangle,
Get it
zero.
the fuck together.
No, fucking block. Google it. Watch a playthrough. Let's get an emulator. Let's go. I'll be Goku, and you be Vegeta, and watch me block your bullshit combo.
No, I am the total like spammer. Like I remember when I first got introduced to the Dragon Ball Z games, I was playing with my cousins, and I was like, "The fuck, this is fucking fun!" Like I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, I didn't know how fun these games were. So yeah.
Do you remember the moves? Do you remember the moves you to fucking mash the analog stick? I was the only one of my friends that was able to do Vegeta's Final Atonement from the Majin Buu series, where he blows himself up, and you have to mash the analog stick like fucking crazy. But if you fail, you die because you blow yourself up. But I was the only one of my friends that was able to do it. So whenever I got pissed off, I was like, fuck it, I'll just pick Majin Buu Vegeta, and the second I have enough energy, okay, match is over. And just blow myself up, but I killed them.
Damn.
I was gonna say, do you guys remember the one where it was like on PS1? It was like a foreign Dragon Ball Z game where you had to keep the PlayStation's lid open to play it.
Oh wow.
You had
No.
to like pop a spring in there.
No.
Oh my god, there was this. Oh,
Dude,
I wish I could tell you.
Bandai Namco is about to fucking sue you.
It was like a foreign Japanese
Nah.
Japanese Dragon Ball Z game that had a shitload of fucking characters.
Damn.
But you had to kind of like leave the PlayStation top open in order to play it for some
That'd be
reason.
scary.
I don't know
Oh, that's
how.
funny.
Like just seeing my disc spin is like, don't fly off.
Yeah, it
Nah.
was so dope.
No, the closest I ever got to that is I mentioned this once before in here in the podcast, but my mom unknowingly bought me a Sega Saturn chip that let me play Japanese games.
Oh yeah.
So I would play like I think the fighting game I mentioned before is Darksiders, or
Yeah.
is that where Morgan, the Hot Witch from Marvel vs. Capcom came from, the Mummy and all that. So I was like, had all these Japanese fighting games.
Nice.
But I'll say one thing back to what Preston's saying. I think because the whole mechanics are the same. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's because I think only Bandai Namco / Sega produced these anime games. I think only they have the rights.
You might be right.
I'd be surprised.
Might be right.
Because we're joking of how like during E3 it's like, oh, the Bandai Namco thing's coming up. I'm like, spoiler, anime games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of rights, this is actually a good segue here.
Ah, this one.
So on continuing on with the state of play, there's this game called Lost Judgment, which I'll do a slight description of and then add some clarity here. So it says, equal parts of Grizzly and Goofy, this trailer for the animated sequel is sure to turn heads. Attempt to solve two impossible murders when Lost Judgment hits PS4 and PS5 on September 24th. Now, this game kind of seems interesting. It kind of seems like it's like half serious. The other half is like Yakuza style. But
Hell yeah.
But the interesting thing about this game, even more so, is that it's kind of in like hot water when it comes to like the development of the game actually coming out, because they own the likeness to this particular character for the main character, and they were going to make a PC port of the game, but whoever owns the likeness to this main character, they're like restricting that. They're like, you don't have like, you don't like you like, like we own that likeness. We didn't agree to this PC platform to be on it. So now it's in jeopardy of the game not even coming out.
So the details are a little goofy. So the actor belongs to an acting agency.
Yeah.
And the agency owns the likeliness, whatever.
Yeah.
And again, I'm gonna say this, and you guys will be like, "That's stupid." You're right. So the reason, so there's a clause like somewhere in the agency's thing is that the likeliness of their clients, the actors,
Yeah.
they don't want quote unquote online, and so for them, they're linking the phrase online with the PC port only,
Right.
forgetting that Sony consoles have been online since PS2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, the explanations again, the explanations like kind of weird.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what they're going with is they don't want they're like in this like spread online. It's like spread online in a way that doesn't reflect agency. Because apparently the agencies, I'm not saying the agencies like family, but that's kind of their wording. It's like they don't want it like, hey, if there's a scene with this guy, stab somebody in the face or something. They don't want that link, to again spread online. But it's like PS4 and PS5.
It's really weird. It seems like it's more like custom centric. Like I don't know. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally.
It's just a PC port.
Yeah,
they're okay with the console.
Yeah,
they're okay with the console launch.
Yeah,
it's just a PC port they have a problem with.
Right. No,
and
exactly.
That's weird because wasn't there another one before this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was. I don't know if that one had. I don't know if the first one had a PC port. But again, it's weird because they're okay with the console launch. It's just a PC port. And they're loose, weird verbiage of like, oh, we don't want our clients liking us online in a negative light. And it's like,
it's like, who's gonna tell them?
yeah, exactly. I feel like all the developers and even Sony just like has that like meme of like the Muppet just looking at each other like, oh, who's gonna tell them the console's been online since PS2?
Yeah, I don't know. Weird stuff there. So hopefully the game comes out, obviously, for those fans of the series.
For the port.
Yeah. And then continuing on here, that's funny. This kind of segues to it could segue to the next topic of the show. I might have to jump around.
Do it.
But Death Stranding Director's Cut here, of course, was shown as well in the State of Play. And it says, first look at the enhanced and expanded Death Stranding's experience for PS5, new missions, new equipment, and more awaits porters. Now, before we go into Deathloop, I just think it just makes sense to talk about this. I'm assuming you're familiar with this particular situation, though, Preston, where Kojima was kind of offended on the term director's cut. So to go into this article here for more clarity, according to The Verge here, it says here in quote, Death Stranding, the director's cut isn't a director's cut, says director Hideo Kojima. Says here, in my opinion, I don't like to call director's cut. Continuing on here, he says... says Death Stranding Director's Cut is coming to PS5 on September 24th, but don't call it a Director's Cut, according to director Hideo Kojima.
I love the headline.
It says here in quote, a Director's Cut in a movie is an additional edit to a shortened version that was either released reluctantly because the director did not want to have the right to edit it, or because the running time had to be shortened, end quote. Hideo Kojima explained in his Twitter this morning. Continuing on, it says here in quote, in the game, it was not cut, but was additionally produced, and that was included. Delectors plus. So in my opinion, I don't like to call it a director's cut. Continuing on, says based on Kojima's tweets, it seems like the new content coming to Death Stranding Director's Cut isn't missions or mechanics that had to be cut out due to time or budget. Kojima's directional vision for the game isn't now only being restored. The PS5 version is just getting new elements that are created specifically for this re-release. It's a misuse of the idea of a director's cut that Sony has already started to lean on with the recent announced Ghost of Tsushima director's cut, which adds the new island to explore with added story content, characters, armor, and enemies, a long-awaited fix for proper lip syncing for the game's Japanese voiceover, and DualSense specific features like the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback. They're nice additions, but no one at Sony or Sucker Punch seems to be claiming that they're a part of the Ghost of Tsushima's directors Nate Fox and Jason Connell's original restored version or vision, end quote. I think he has a point. I mean, because it seems like it is, what is the word?
Buzzword.
Not like, yeah, like it's like a buzzword, but it's like, it's not true. Like it's kind of dishonest. So what are your thoughts?
I agree with him 100% because I was thinking about that too because it was just like they're calling it a director's cut when it's actually just DLC that's being added on, and I was just like, for like the article said with Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding, I'm like Death Stranding was a complete game, and like Kojima said, when you think of director's cut, I mean first thing now that comes to everybody's mind and most people's mind is the Snyder cut. Because after the Snyder cut, everybody else wants to release their cut of whatever movie is out. Yeah. So I feel like PlayStation's kind of using it just as like a buzzword. Oh, this is director's cut, but
Yeah.
it's DLC.
Right.
Just advertise it as such.
And even the bigger controversy is them charging for the upgraded version of the games from like the older console to the current console, and paying when, like, on the Xbox side of the fence that wouldn't be the case. So like for someone jumping from, what is it, PS4 to PS5,
money,
it's like $30 or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's kind of
I think it was like 30 for Ghost of Tsushima and 20 for Death Stranding.
Yeah, I know it was
something like that.
I don't know. I don't know the Stranding, but I know because we talked about it's 30 for Tsushima's.
Yeah.
Quote unquote director's cut. My biggest thing about this is like props to Kojima immediately stepping out and be like, it's not a director's cut. I had nothing to do with this. It's like I'm not saying he's wiping his hands off it because it's still his game.
Yeah.
His story, but it's like this is not a director's cut. I love how he just gives out like accurately, like, you know, almost like a verbatim vocabulary definition of what a director's cut is.
Yeah,
Which
because
is
he's
like-
a big film
like,
buff.
Yeah, so he's like, let's clear the air. This is here's a definition of a director's cut. This is not it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Branson's saying, you know, it should be like the premium edition or the deluxe edition.
Yeah.
Because they're just adding DLC.
Right.
It's, you know, it's like
And
it's
part
it's
of
weird.
me-
Go ahead.
A part of me is thinking like people are upset about paying extra because it is being advertised as a director's cut. It's like if you're gonna advertise as a director's cut, it's because you released something that was unfinished. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
But if you just
Yeah.
complete edition or Death Stranding Plus or whatever the fuck you want to call it, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's DLC at that point. Like, or just even like what they did with Spider-Man with the Miles Morales thing. I feel like that would have been a good way to go, at least for Ghost of Tsushima, because you're going to be in a completely different island.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima plus Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island or whatever the hell island that they're going to be on, you know? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that makes more sense.
It's weird because, you know, like especially RPGs that have like DLC. Like for me, like for example, Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 is borderlining Skyrim of how much has been fucking re-released.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Jesus. Yeah.
So and you know, again, there's like, you know, Borderlands 3 the gold edition, Borderlands 3 the prettier edition, or whatever. I forget what they call it, but it's like, you know,
Yeah.
the enhanced version, but there's an actual fucking name.
The
for it.
Handsome Collection.
Handsome collection.
Yeah.
Thank you. There you go.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
same thing. So it's like let's say this game didn't. Let's say kind of ignore this game had already launched. It would be weird to like launch a game, and then have the bundle with the season pass, and then call that version with the season pass the director's cut.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Yeah.
That's just again the premium, deluxe, gold. Complete, all these other words that actually describe it, and Sony's like, people like Kojima, he directed this, director's cut.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine what Sony was thinking when Kojima publicly said, "This isn't director's cut." What's happening? What? You know what I mean?
Shut it down. Shut it down now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to me it just seemed like it was just shitty marketing because the Snyder cut was such a big thing, you know, running around the internet. I think they could just push that narrative of just saying that cut and people wanting to upgrade. But yeah, so it's kind of shitty, you know, and I hope they stop doing that, because what the fuck, it's not an actual director's cut.
In all reality, I mean, I'm okay with paying a little extra for upgrade, $20, $30, because I'm looking at it as DLC.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with doing that and paying $30 extra to get it for the new system.
Yeah.
I'm just more curious about how they're going to do that for people that bought it on disc, like me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know with PS3 to PS4 they had a thing where you could buy the upgrade digitally on the new system, but you still use the PS3 disc. I want to assume it's going to be like the same thing.
Yeah, I know in general there's costs associated, and then I just think that in general, compared to how Xbox has been doing it, it's been free, like really free, you know. And then the other issue too, when it comes to these upgrades to the PS5 versions, save data. There's been a whole issue with that too. You know, like the whole Doom
I didn't even
situation.
think about that because there's no way I'm fucking finishing Death Stranding again.
You know, because it's like it almost reminds me of like the Elder Scrolls Skyrim when they came out with that complete edition or whatever it was, the expanded edition.
Yeah.
And your old save didn't transfer over. Like you had to start the game over.
Well, here's another 300 hours.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
On a side note, it's really interesting you mentioned disc. The last game I got on disc was a gift. Was Star Wars Battlefront 2. So the last game I had on disc was in 2017.
was one of the most controversial like games that people hated.
It's really funny, Joe, because if you remember, it was a gift via gift card, and then I got Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then the analog grips for like $5. And I was like, oh man, this $5 analog grips are way more valuable than, or like I got way more of my money than this fucking Battlefront 2.
Oh my god!
On another side note, definitely tangent. You mentioned the Snyder Cut. Real quick, Preston, by Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Oh, nice.
So what?
You hear about that? Oh, Margot Robbie announced she's done. She's no more Harley Quinn movies for her.
I didn't hear about that. Wow.
Yeah, sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, she said she's not sure.
So it's like,
how's that connected to this?
the Snyder Cut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like,
Is she ever going to be in a Snyder Cut?
She was in the Snyder Cut, wasn't she?
When?
She wasn't in the
It was
Snyder
DC.
Cut.
It's DC. I don't know. Snyder Cut, DC.
You gotta watch the whole 4 hours all over again.
No, David Ayer, I believe it was. He did Suicide Squad, and they're trying to get his cut to be released.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Suicide
That's
Squad.
true. Well, hell, any situation where I get to talk about Margot Robbie, that's fine with me because it's Margot Robbie.
It's DC. That's what
Shout out to you.
my brain got me thinking. But yeah, side note. She announced she's Dunzo with Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn.
I don't even think about what DC needs to do anymore because shit's just been up and down all over.
So speaking of it being put to death, Deathloop was the main state of play for. I know it was kind of a shitty shot.
That's accurate. Dude, one of my friends said it perfectly. He's like, I've seen so much of this game, I feel like I've already beat it.
Well, no.
So
actually, what I found interesting about the Deathloop trailer that they put on here, it was the same map every time they showed it. They just showed it completely different ways, which adds to their point of being able to replay missions and do stuff different ways all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
I found it more interesting because it's only been on one map.
So here's another interesting thing too, and when I mean interesting, I mean what the fuck. But anyway, continuing here, lastly on State of Play, which is the big kahuna here for the State of Play. It says here in quote talking about Deathloop, it says 9 minutes of gameplay. It says even when armed to the teeth and sporting supernatural abilities, Colt's mission to take down his targets and break free of Black Reef's time loop will be a challenging one. See him track Alcisis the Wolf Dorsey, and his 9-minute gameplay sequence arrives on PS5 September 14th. So here's the weird thing, Preston, and I find this very odd. So you know how Deathloop is an exclusive? For a timed exclusive, if you will?
Yeah.
So guess when the timed exclusive ends?
Next month.
September 14th.
Close enough.
So the exclusive ends when the game comes out?
And then Game Pass.
Wait, the game comes out at that time?
According to PlayStation Blog, the game arrives on PS5 September 14th. And it says that they revealed that the exclusivity period will end on September 14th. So it's not a real fucking exclusive.
I feel like that had to get messed up.
Dude.
When Microsoft got the rights to Bethesda.
Maybe.
I'm looking forward to not paying for this game.
Yeah, I mean, because, it releases on PC as well. But, yeah, I mean, if it ends on September 14th, I mean, you're probably going to see an Xbox Game Pass or Xbox version of it probably the following months.
I still think Phil Spencer is like in Teddy Roosevelt mode, speak softly, carry a big stick, just whispering, Todd Howard's ear. $7.5 billion. Give me this game on my fucking console.
Don't fuck this up.
Give me this game on my fucking console. Because this is the one made by the Dishonored people. Yeah.
Yeah, Arcane.
It
yeah.
looks, you could tell it's Dishonored.
Yeah, like the way the crouch weapons are like.
Yeah.
The shading and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And even like the abilities and all, like
Yeah.
it looks super Dishonored. Like
Dishonored into future with time travel, which doesn't sound bad. That's
Wolf faces.
You know what? Fucking pay me. That's how they should have fucking advertised it. It's Dishonored into future with time travel. Bam. That's how you describe the fucking
I
game.
feel like the only game that has succeeded with the marketing of comparing to another game is Borderlands. Is Skyrim with guns.
Actually, that was Far Cry. I was at GameStop.
Was that Far Cry?
That was Far
Was it
Cry.
Far Cry?
I can absolutely confirm that was Far Cry.
Far Cry.
That was Far Cry 4 or 3, one of the two.
I think it might have been 3 because that was like the big one that everybody fell in love with.
I'm just trying to think of like dating. I'm just trying to think of when I worked at GameStop when Far Cry came out. But yeah, no, it was 3. You're right. You're correct because it was 3. That was after I left.
Okay.
But yeah, Skyrim with guns, which was again accurate description of it.
But
Nice.
I can't think of any other game that would like want to advertise himself as another version of somebody else's game.
That
You know?
I feel like I can't think of who's actually done it, but I know fans. And we mentioned this before. Like gamers have definitely compared like, every fucking zombie game to like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
It's like Left 4 Dead, but with this. It's Left 4 Dead,
That's what
but with
gamers
this.
do when we try to describe games. Like,
Yeah.
well, it's kind of like this, but it's kind of like this.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like you can't really blame us because there's so much content. Everyone is inspired by everybody else. And I know the developers are like, I didn't work 80 hours a week just for you to call it another fucking game.
Except
Watch-
for Ubisoft.
I know, right?
They were like, yeah, we're Skyrim with guns.
yeah, exactly.
Come buy us.
They're all, fuck it, we want the money. Like, yeah, call it whatever people will buy it.
Watch what was that game? What was the game we just talked about? Like Hunter Showdown or something like that. Watch one of the developers like fucking hate Final Fantasy, and Preston's like, yeah, it's like Final Fantasy, but like other stuff. He's like, God damn it.
Well, no, that's what Ubisoft did it again with Phoenix Rising. Like it's literally like Breath of the Wild, but it's was it Roman?
Yeah,
Roman
Greek stuff.
Greek stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Side note, I still like how they change the name of the fucking game because of Monster Energy Drink. 'Cause it was called Gods and Monsters, and then Monster Energy Drink was like, people might mix up your game for my energy drink because it has the word monsters. I'm like, you're fucking stupid.
Speaking of litigation,
Yay! In California, we love that.
some more news happened over here in now this is in the fences of the Ukraine, rather, or the area of the Ukraine, rather. So according to Gaming Bible, it says here in quote, police seized thousands of PlayStations being used to mine cryptocurrency. So it says here in quote, PlayStation games worldwide have been struggling to get their hands on PlayStation 5 since they came out in late 2021, and many Xbox fans are still searching high and low for the Series X, except for Arthur. But perhaps the PC community has been suffering the worst, looking everywhere for new GPUs since the rise of cryptocurrency. All GeForce 30 graphics cards have been out of stock everywhere. They're almost impossible to buy at retail and still hard to find even at scalper prices, and it's ridiculous, which might be why crypto mines are also turning to the PlayStation 4 for help. According to Kotaku, in the Kyiv Post, a crypto mine in Ukraine was raided and hundreds of PlayStation 4 Pros were confiscated for stealing energy from an energy distributor. The farm was apparently been stealing power from the city of Vinnytsia, a home of almost 400,000 people, when the Ukraine Security Service, the SBU, intervened. The total of 5,000 devices were found in use, many of them PlayStation 4s, according to the SBU. $259,000 worth of power was stolen, which led to the shortage in Vinnytsia. However, Natalia Drik, the CEO of the organization Blockchain Ukraine, has claimed that these sorts of raids are an abuse of power. Mining cryptocurrency in Ukraine is completely legal, although it is also entirely unregulated by the government. According to the Kyiv Post, Drig believes that this is just a way for SBU to confiscate valuable equipment without legal justification. And lastly, says here, invaluable certainly as it is, there seems to have been a total of 3,800 consoles confiscated as part of this raid. And although we don't know for sure how many of them were PlayStation 4 Pros, we can guess that the total cost of the equipment of the site exceeded $1 million, perhaps up to $1.5 million. And that's without counting the other bits of tech needed to support this massive operation, end quote. So I have a weird conspiracy hat here, guys. I want to bring this to both of your guys' attention here, right? So it's funny. The article brings up a really good point as far as how this crypto mining thing has been a really big deal. Shortages, right? Are we going to see another story where there's like 5,000 PS5s mining cryptocurrency? And that's really the reason why no one can buy a PS5 or a Series X. Not because there's a shortage of graphics chip. It's because these companies are these companies such as Sony or Geforce are just kind of letting different huge organizations buy a bunch of their consoles to mine for cryptocurrency.
That'd be
So
awesome.
I'm actually kind of confused about this though, because why did they need the PS4 to mine the cryptocurrency? Are they using the graphics cards and like the power of like the stuff inside of a PS4, like as computer?
I kind of googled some other stuff of like just kind of connect that and like just like not exactly apples to apples comparison, but just as a tryout back in 2010. The U.S. Air Force connected over 1,000 PS3s to build a supercomputer. So I guess they can use the processing power of the GPU to do things other than play Far Cry.
Yeah, because I know that cell processor in general, that was one where they're even using that for like military training and stuff. But yeah, I guess that whatever the
Why does it sound like fucking toy soldiers? All over
Yeah. When the PS3 came out, did you guys ever hear that urban legend that the PS3 wasn't allowed in volatile countries because the PS3 was so powerful that terrorists can use it for like missiles and shit?
Oh yeah, I did.
You remember that?
Yeah,
Preston, you heard about that?
yeah, I remember that.
I googled it right now to see if it was true. That's actually literally what I googled. I was like, I was like PS4 is used for missiles, and like, so other than me being now on a watch list,
they're like got his IP address.
he
He has 2 cats.
I just realized for a search like that, I should have used Bing.
Or at least incognito.
Yeah. But yeah, nothing came up with like, yes, private citizen, you absolutely can use the PS4 to launch missiles. Surprise! I didn't find the fucking article. But that's just what it reminds me of. It reminds me that the urban legend back in the day of like, oh, PS3 is so powerful. You can't buy it in Pakistan. Something like that.
Really weird stuff. Yeah, I guess. I know there's some. I think there's actually a Netflix documentary talking about the blockchain and like data mining and shit using computers. So I guess you can use a console as well to do that stuff. But.
Real quick, I will also say, I'm gonna bet money in the next few weeks.
Oh god.
You're gonna see some PS4s and some what are they called, the computer PC things, the graphics cards. You're gonna see some you're gonna see a couple dozen PS4s and graphics card come on eBay with shipping source of Ukraine. I was like, hey, wow, hey, like 1,000 cops gave their kids PS4s for Christmas.
Can we say this is a win for Sony for once though?
Hey,
they weren't using Xboxes. I wonder why.
It's hey, do you want a console to affect the power grid of 400,000 people? Sony.
It's kind of a win that their system is able to do that, though, right? Like, come on.
It's like
Come on.
It's the power of PlayStation.
it's like in a movie when there's like weird commercial plugs in movies, and like a terrorist is like, man, this car's so good at hijacking people. Thanks, Ford, or something like that.
Oh my god!
With with this smart drive system, the car can drive itself. Why chloroform the person in the back seat? Thanks, Tesla.
All right, the car will drive itself. Why I can shoot out the driver's seat?
It's like, oh, we just had a drive by. Oh, cool. So there were 2-3 people. Nah, just one. He was in the backseat of his own car.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, if you want a PS4 or some GPUs, check out eBay. Filter that search of Ukraine.
That's hilarious. So moving away from PlayStation here, we don't talk about Nintendo that much, but there's been a couple of things that have hit the streets here that I wanted to be sure to communicate. And as you guys are probably already privy to, there is the OLED version of the Nintendo Switch, which was recently announced to be available $349. I'm planning to come out later this year. However, one of the biggest issues and complaints for the Nintendo Switch that people hope that they would get fixed for the OLED version appears not to be the case. And I'm talking about the Joy-Con issues that have been had for the past for a while now. So just to go into more detail, according to Tech Radar, it says here, the title of the article says, Switch OLED won't fix potential Joy-Con issues, Nintendo confirms. And it says, there's no joy to be had here. To continue on, it says here in quote, if you were wondering whether the Nintendo Switch OLED comes with updated Joy-Con controllers, ones that would specifically eliminate the dreaded hardware issue known as Joy-Con drift, you might be disappointed. A Nintendo representative told GameSpot that the Joy-Con controllers that come with the new Switch are the same stock controllers we've seen since the console first launched in March of 2017, and therefore will still be susceptible to developing the drift. End quote says here, the Joy-Con controller configuration and functionality did not change with the Nintendo Switch system OLED model. End quote. The Nintendo representative said. Continuing, it says here that the configuration functionality is the same part of the Joy-Con controllers for the Nintendo Switch system. The Joy-Con drift has impacted a large number of Switch users and occurs when the analog stick of either Joy-Con input signals even when in the neutral position. This can lead to your screen crosshair or character moving without any input from the user. Nintendo has faced multiple lawsuits regarding the problem, including one from a child, and even publicly apologized for Joy-Con drift in 2020. End quote. So I know, Preston, you're a big Nintendo guy. Obviously, you had the little Wario picture when you signed in here to the
Waluigi, fucker.
In our defense, it was there for a split second.
Yeah. So I thought it was Wario, but
I wouldn't even say I'm a big Nintendo guy, but I mean, I do enjoy Nintendo games for sure.
I dabble.
I have Joy-Con drift in mine.
Yeah.
So like it is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But a lot of like I want to say like the real, like not real gamers, but like the more hardcore gamers end up buying pro controllers and stuff anyway. I think my biggest problem with the OLED is that they didn't even change the Joy-Cons. It still has the shitty ass D-pad that it came with, while the Switch Lite has a good D-pad.
You mean that D-pad where if you flick your thumb, you're pressing like all the buttons at once?
Oh, is it like that? I mean, it looks better to me. I never played the Lite.
That's no on the original one. That's why I don't like it like you. It's like just weird.
Well, I don't like the original one because it's 4 different buttons, kind of like an ABXY on the D-pad.
That's weird.
Like, yeah, like it's actual individual buttons, which is strange to me. And then the fact that literally nothing changes with the console other than the screen. And then when it's docked, that doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like you're not really using the OLED that much.
I had to Google why it was called OLED because it just sounds so weird. Because normally Nintendo things have like at least I'll say this, fun names, like the Wii. Do you remember the ad campaign with the 2 Japanese guys in suits coming to your door? May we play? And yeah, that was fun. That was just a fun thing.
That's good. It's a good thing.
And then sorry, just real quick, I was like OLED. That just sounds boring.
Omitted something diode or whatever it is.
Because it is a boring name. Because it's an acronym for an even boring name. Organic light emitting diode.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the OLED term from the PlayStation Vita. When the first one came out, but it was like less than.
You mean this was already done?
The OLED.
A decade ago.
Hey,
Hey, guess what happened to the Vita?
I like how Nintendo's like looking in Sony's trash can, and it's like, hey, let's do that.
And it fucking died, and then they came up with an LED version because there was like OLED really fucks up your battery. So yeah, I'm curious to see. It sucks, it seems like the fans, once again, you have to have a run around to try to fix that issue. I saw a recent article that said like a piece of paper put in the Joy-Con will actually fix the drift.
Jesus.
I might have to try that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Nintendo fans are diehard, but it's like, dude, if you're to tell me like Xbox had the server capabilities of Nintendo and wireless controllers fucked up that much, dude, we'd be pissed the fuck off.
Yeah.
And I know I will have to admit, you know, like in terms of loyalty, Sony, Xbox, Nintendo customers are the most.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Arguably blindly loyal. Sorry.
And the thing that makes it even crazier, Nintendo was like, "Well, we can fix it if you just send it to us," and that's always their fucking excuse for everything.
How about you fix it before I get it?
You'll just send it to us. We'll fix it and send it back, and then even then, it's not permanently fixed, and that process takes like a month or two.
They'll put a piece of paper in there.
I know. It's like, oh, you guys just slap a sticky note on my controller? Yeah, we fixed it. I don't know, because I knew that new Mario golf game, All Star, Super. They usually have like the same 5 buzzwords.
Yeah.
Super, All Star. They'd never use Mega, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
And
because Mega Man, they can't do that.
Yeah, right. And there's all these videos of like people trying to play this game and their servers just keep crashing, and I'm like, is that why Sony? Not Sony. Is that why Nintendo advertised so much at E3? By the way, it's online. Like, is that why they were so fucking proud? Like, they got a working game online in 2021. High five, guys!
People are still complaining about the servers with Smash Brothers, one of their biggest fucking online games that they have, and people are like, you need to fix it.
Now that I'm watching more and more like Nintendo playthroughs, I'm just like, how are Nintendo fans putting up with this? Like, again, the Joy-Con.
They play locally. That's what Nintendo's for.
They are the kings of couch coop.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, very true. And say if this old OLED situation was just such a pain in the ass, Steam recently. Oh, I just had such a great segue. What is it?
I was gonna say, not to stomp on Nintendo too much. You know how they have Nintendo Land.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Japan.
It pissed our friend went. It pissed him off because you have to pay like because they have this really high interactive thing. It's like I don't know, like AR but not AR, and you like it's a wristband for $30, but you can, as of right now, you can only use it on one ride.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So yeah, so he was our buddy, the same one I mentioned. I was up playing all night. He's in Japan. And he was able to go to Nintendo Land, which is like a wing of Universal Studios, which is eventually coming here to the US. So yay! But he was like, yeah, they have this wristband thing. It's $30, and you can only use it on one thing.
Damn.
As of now. In that first trailer, when they announced that like months ago.
Yeah.
It was like going around the park, tapping the wristbands of different things.
Like the awards. The coin cubes, I forget what they're called. From Mario.
We'll just call them the coin cubes.
I don't know. I'm still mad they didn't show that at E3. It's like, dude, you're so like Nintendo. You're so cool. You have your own fucking amusement park.
Yeah.
Dude, it feels if Xbox had a theme park.
It'll never happen, Arthur.
I'm just saying, like, they would have advertised the shit out of that.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's like, it's fine.
So if this whole Switch situation was just a big bother and you wanted to see what other options there are when it comes to handheld devices, Steam, or Valve, I should say, has got your back. And they just announced today the Steam. Actually, well, you're seeing this Saturday. They announced this Thursday of earlier this week. The Steam Deck, which looks a lot like a Switch, but it is a lot more powerful. And when I say more powerful, I mean it has the same power. It has an even power capability of the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Basically, according to a developer, there's 3 different options here. There's a 64 gigabyte for $399, a 256 gigabyte for $529, which has the SSD built in, but for faster storage. Comes with a carry case and has an exclusive Steam Community Profile bundle. And there's also a 512 gigabyte SSD, which also comes, has that. You also have a premium anti-glare etched glass. So the 512 one actually has the anti-glare screen, which is interesting, but not the others. It has an exclusive carrying case, an exclusive virtual keyboard theme as well. It has 2 touch pads on both sides, right under the analog sticks. Pretty crazy. It has some ray tracing. It has 720p on the screen. So like with the power of the system and the screen capability, and then also this is a Steam OS. You can actually wipe this OS and boot something entirely different. So it's incredibly customizable, and it has a deck not included when you buy it. They'll release it later, but you can actually use it as a regular computer as well. It has Linux, But you can boot other shit on it as well. So it's pretty insane. But it's supposed to come out December of this year. You can reserve yours. I want to say reservations are coming pretty soon. But pretty nuts. And if you're a crazy, insane man who knows exactly what processors are, it comes with an AMD APU. CPU is the Zen 2. And the GPU is a RDNA, which I guess can do ray tracing. It's pretty nuts. And it has 16 gigs of RAM. Pretty impressive. Yeah. So I was more excited that this was a thing. I know this was kind of rumored. If you guys are familiar, there's like a PC handle called like the GPD, kind of popular in the nerd streets when it comes to the handheld, but they're like incredibly expensive. They're like $700 up, and the GPD, I want to say 2 or 3 was supposed to be coming out, or the 3, but that was going to be really expensive. So now that the Steam Deck is available. And it seems like their direct competitor is, in fact, Nintendo, which I find odd as well. Or I'm like, okay, Steam, like Valve, you guys have nothing else to better fucking do but to mess around with Nintendo. What are you guys' thoughts? What are you guys' thoughts on this?
I fucking love it. I loved it, first of all, because I didn't know about this or any rumors of it. But I saw on Twitter, they were like, Valve released the Switch Pro, and I was like, wait, huh? Excuse me? That immediately caught my attention.
Yeah.
And that's when I sent it over to you.
Yes.
But
I was like, what?
I do like the idea of being able to play PC games handheld, but also being able to hook it up to a TV.
Yeah.
Because as somebody who doesn't have a PC right now, I was looking at that and I was like, is it really worth it price-wise? And, but then I wasn't sure if I was only going to be able to play Steam games or if I could actually open up, like Origin and Battle.net and all the other stuff that I have on PC.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, because I know they said that like you're supposed to be able to play your library, like if you already have an existing Steam account, which is pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, I think it is very interesting. It's funny. I've always, for years and years, I've been like back and forth as far as like, oh, should I have a handheld device? Should I not have a handheld device? Arthur, what are your thoughts on this?
Scroll up real quick to the options.
Yeah.
Why up?
That's as far as it goes.
No, there.
I have to go back.
Go to the 3. Okay, there.
Yeah.
Why does the 64 gigabyte edition exist?
$399. Well, you have to think the Switch Pro or the OLED version is $349. So they're like, if you want that, or do you want this?
Not pricing, just storage wise. That's like two. If it's supposed to be like an Xbox One, PS4 thing, that's like 2 games.
Well, let me mention this to you as well, Arthur, because you are making a good point. Because with the OS and everything, it's probably going to take 20 gigs off, right?
Yeah.
It does have. You can put an SD card in.
Okay.
So and they said you can actually run games off of the SD card as well.
Good. Okay. Because back in day when we were at GameStop, Grand Theft Auto 5 was the game that forced people to upgrade storage. Now Call of Duty Warzone with every update, it's like what 120, 100 like
200.
Yeah, damn near.
Basically fucking 200.
Yeah, like because I remember they said like you need at least like 200 gigs just to play Call of Duty and Warzone.
It's fucking nuts, dude.
So it's like so again, me thinking if that was like. I mean, if you're an indie fan and you want to save money, hey, 64 gigs.
Well, I was gonna say that too, because you gotta remember on Steam, there's a lot of fucking like indie games that people play on Steam. I don't even think I can't think of a lot of people that I know that goes to Steam to play their AAA games. Like it's usually little things.
One thing I thought of too, and obviously Valve didn't mention this. I don't know if you know what I'm gonna say. This is a Game Pass machine too.
Yeah, I was like,
you can use a full web browser for it. So if you want to do xCloud, you can technically do that on here. Which is pretty awesome. So you can technically play Game Pass games on this Steam Deck as well. They didn't say it, but it logically makes sense.
Dude, looking at this drill.
So it's a console that can do both. You can hook that up to the TV. You can play Xbox games and your PC games.
Yeah.
looking at this trail, I feel like the Nvidia Shield came out 5 years too early.
Right? Exactly. They're on the right track, but
Like,
exactly. No one was ready for it.
The market just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
But looking at this, I'm like, man, poor Nvidia Shield. Just looking at this, I'm like, what could have been.
Exactly.
Sorry, just to poke Drell and his relationship with Valve. It's like, man, they made a console for Half-Life 3.
Man, I don't want to swear too much on this episode. Okay.
There you go. See?
So,
Well, no, didn't they try a console before already?
they
Wasn't it like
did.
something box.
I'm just annoyed that they focused on this instead of Half-Life 3. But like, I was watching the IGN interview, and they're interviewing these really awkward engineer developers of the Steam Deck, and God bless them. But they just, they're just like whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm actually at Valve right now, and it looked like a dark library. I'm like, this looks very interesting.
Like, do you need help? It's like that one. He's like that one guy. It's like that one guy in Vietnam that was like captured and blinked torture through Morse code.
Oh my God.
It's like, I'm in Valve now. Help me.
Continuing, what I was going to say was...
he blinked 3 times. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Well, what I was going to do was that when these guys were talking, behind them was a bunch of old school gaming magazines, and a lot of them had Half-Life 2.
Were there 3 magazines?
There was. And I thought about it, just said, like, oh my God, Half-Life 3. Like, no.
That's what it
is never coming out, guys. I'm sorry.
That's what it was, man. It was like, he has 3 first names. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yeah. So, interesting.
One question,
go ahead.
one question I do have about the Steam box or whatever the fuck, Steam Deck.
Yeah. Steam Deck.
With the
Such a 90s
with
name.
the like constantly upgrading video games that are coming out, are you gonna have to shoot out another $700 for an upgraded Steam Deck when this Steam Deck is outdated?
Yeah.
With xCloud, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point too, right? Because there is like, if you are, this is such a weird thing to advertise, because like you mentioned, Preston, like the maturation rate on this when it comes to 1, battery life, and then 2, storage, and also with graphics, like it's a cool idea right now, but I don't know how appetizing this will be 3 years from now, especially if you have the $399 version. Like, and to Arthur's point, as far as like, why is it $399 when it exists? Like, is it even worth it? Like, is it even worth it to do that? Like, to my answer would be no. Like, at least start with the middle one at $529, because at least you have an SSD.
My phone has more storage than that console. That's like, storage wise, that's nothing.
Yeah, like, I mean, yes, it is as powerful as an Xbox One or a PS4, and it's on a 720p screen, so it's going to look better than it actually does look. But when it comes to just like kind of like the future of that actual device, I don't know. They said it's really customizable. They said that even the triggers are customizable as well.
Yeah, are the specs customizable is what I'm concerned about, because when we're upgrading the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, comparing it to a PS4 and Xbox One does what for us?
Yeah.
Like, we're past that generation of graphics and mechanics,
Yeah.
I have a question for you PC people. Not in terms of like lifespan, like it dies, but just in terms of usability and how much the market and the industry upgrades.
Yeah.
What's the, if not lifespan, the usage time or the rollover time on like a graphics card? Like, how often you need to upgrade that?
I mean, if you want to just play the games and you don't care about like the FPS being 60, you probably have a nice 5 years on the card.
Okay, I would say, like, let's say you want best of the best. You're a streamer that wants to not play in a hot tub. And you need to compete with that. It's like again, you want the best of the best. Like, this is the top highest grade. Again, like 5 years. 5 years,
like every other year.
Maybe 3 years. I would say 3. If you have a really solid, like, 'cause the thing is that, like, obviously when the games come out, the graphics change. Like it completely changes the whole scope of of because these graphics, these cards are made around games, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't work in that industry, but just from me outside looking in, the graphics are made around the games. So if you want the best of the best, like if you get an RTX 390 right now, you can probably get top of the line graphics for at least 3 years, like in my mind. But then that also has to do with RAM too. You're probably going to be upgrading the RAM as you're doing that. So probably 3 years.
What's the average? Okay, now, so let's say 3 years, top to top. What's the price range on these top of the top line graphics cards?
Thousands of dollars.
See,
Yeah.
not so much to this tech deck. I just can't not call it a tech deck.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 90s. Sorry.
And I know they're probably going to kill us in the comments if we do get comments on the YouTube channel. We're probably completely wrong, but this is just our brains.
Wait, but thousands of dollars for one graphics card? That don't sound right.
RTX 390, it's like $2,000.
Really?
Yeah, the RTX 360 is like maybe $800, but these RTX graphic cards are fucking expensive.
So
Yeah.
the reason I asked that is because to a point that the graphics card thing from the outside looking in as a console guy, that's what's kept me away from the PC world. Is like the thought of like every few years I need to switch graphics card when I can get a console that'll last me, like arguably 6, 7, 8 years, depending on the next gen timing. But like you
And
said, like the
plays
one
consistently.
and it plays consistently. Like the thought of like buying a thing and then having to lower the settings to play the thing I buy doesn't. I know it's going to piss off a lot of PC people, like, but that concept, like as a console guy, makes no sense to me. Is like, again, to me, is like, again, especially for money. It's like, hey, every X years I'm gonna spend a couple grand. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, how about every 7 years I just spend 500?
Yeah, I mean, I think my argument has always been like, it depends on what you want when you're getting a graphics card. Like if you just want to play the games and you want to be able to play pretty much every game for the next 5 years, then you can get a graphics card that isn't super expensive, or you can get one that is expensive and just stretch it out. If you want to get top of the line graphics every single time, that is when things get really expensive.
See, that's weird.
And then speaking to your point as far as like a console, because I've had this argument with my brother too, or this conversation rather.
Yeah.
As far as like, okay, if I just want to play the games, why don't I just buy a console? Because every game works on that console.
Yeah, and it's like,
You know what I mean? Like I don't have to worry about
In
it.
theory, because
Yeah.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
and because that's the other
was
thing.
funny.
That's the other thing too. Again, is like changing the settings. So it's like, oh, the thing I buy
Yeah.
can quote unquote with an asterisk play this if I lower the settings. I'm like, that'd be so weird to me. It's like having like a next gen console, like buying it's a $70 game and like, oh, time to lower the settings. It's like, well, if I have to
So-
lower the settings, why isn't my game cheaper?
So kind of to put it in a little bit of perspective, I had got my PC, I want to say probably like 2014, 2013 or some shit like that, and I got a GTX 960. I was playing with that one graphics card for like a good 6 years, but it was also because I wasn't trying to play like these like super big games at the highest graphics. I was if I was able to play Overwatch, I was cool.
Oh, yeah.
I was able to play Counter-Strike, I was cool. I was able to play Battlefield, I was cool. Like I didn't need it to be at like top graphics, but I mean obviously I didn't want it to be looking like a PlayStation 1 game,
Right, exactly.
As long as I was getting consistent frame rates and the graphics looked good, I was happy.
Yeah. One of the funny jokes around PC gaming, I think Greg Miller, he said it on his kind of funny platform. He was like he's like kind of making fun of PC gamers. He's like, yeah, I got the top of the line PC. He's like, oh, what are you playing with it? Oh, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came out like 15 years ago.
Actually, it's funny you say that because Knights of the Republic, that was another upgrade game, or that was the game where a lot of our customers couldn't play it because they had to upgrade their shit.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Yeah, games change the tide, man. But yeah,
I got on my PC. I played legit like 1,100 hours of Counter-Strike, almost 2,000 hours of Smite. I'm like, I could have used a mediocre PC for those games.
Yeah.
But I also, there were updated games that I wanted to play every once in a while.
Definitely.
And a lot of the games on my Steam library are like little party games, little indie games and stuff like that I was playing with friends. So like it wasn't anything I was like, oh, I need to play Crysis 4.
Yeah.
Because I have a GT, I think it's a GTX 1660 Super. So like I can play pretty much most of the games out, and then even like the games that are coming out. But like, it's not going to be at the highest level. It'll be like maybe like mid, slightly high settings. Okay. But it's like, 2 years from now, yeah, I'm probably going to need another graphics card to play at like high settings. So,
well, I just got a Series X. So.
So what was the first game? What was the first game to you when you got that graphics card where you were like, I'm never going to try to download this one?
So selfishly, I'm going to use your question and make it a segue. Crysis was one of those big games back in the day when PC games where it was the turn of the tide. If you could play Crysis, you could, you had a badass computer. And unfortunately, the demons known as Tencent reportedly are planning to purchase Crytek for $300 million. So according to Nintendo Life, which I'm not sure why Nintendo Life is covering this, but anyway, it says here in quote, Tencent is an increasingly powerful influence in media and entertainment business around the world, making investments and acquisitions in various major brands. One of China's most prominent corporations, it also provides a gateway into that market. Notably, Nintendo teamed up with that company for Switch distribution in the country. I guess that's why this is on the article. Tencent is now reportedly exploring plans to acquire Crytek, a subsidiary, for over $300 million. And Crytek is known for titles like Crysis, with the Crysis Remastered Trilogy, On the Way to the Switch soon, and more recently, Hunt Showdown. Arguably, the bigger part of the business is its CryEngine technology engine, which is now the fifth full iteration and used license for a number of third-party games. It says here the news of the German company's potential acquisition was outlined by Bild, which claims that there are concerns around the access that it would give Tencent and potentially the Chinese government. This is based off of the fact that CryEngine is used in some military simulations. For example, the tweet below gives a decent summary. And it looks like there's a tweet here from Julian Ropt. I'm not sure the last name pronunciation. I apologize. So it says here, according to information exclusively obtained by Bill, Chinese internet company Tencent is trying to buy German games developer Crytek more than $300 million. It says Crytek supplies several Western armies with military simulation programs. It says multiple employees of Crytek based in Frankfurt are afraid that their company is sold to China. Their software will be used for military purpose by the PLA, or China will use its ownership of the company to spy on Western militaries and arms manufacturers using CryEngine. End quote.
Oh, that's right. You can use missiles for shit. Also, as a side note, the thumbnails to these tweets are like one's a drone and the other is a tank on fire. so the half fear tactic is, it's kind of working.
I love that they use CryEngine too. Yeah. Because remember, like Joel was saying, when Crysis came out, they were like, this game is literally burning PCs.
Dude, exactly. Man, fuck Tencent.
Dude, yeah.
They listed all the on Chinese market gateway to like, let me just short on all that to like assholes. So the Tencent assholes. You don't have to be like, you don't have to list all these fucking. Yeah. You don't have to like fucking lick their ass on Nintendo with like 6 different descriptions.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a pretty extensive conversation about Tencent, which again sucks. Listen to our last episode if you're curious about what are they doing. That's so crazy.
And this article's fucking nuts because they just come out and say it like, okay, Tencent buying shit to make shitty mobile games is one thing.
Right.
They just straight up say, oh, we want to buy this engine for military purposes. What the fuck? like to a point, hey, can one politician get off their ass and be like remove the video games? Because I feel like I feel like with these dinosaurs over there, like, hey, Mark Zuckerberg, do you make Google? All these fucking people. So remove the video game aspect and be like, hey, China's trying to buy a military simulation thing made by Germany. Could someone just raise their hand and be like, "Can we like watch this?"
Yeah, because they were on it with Huawei. You know what I mean? Like they were really keeping an eye on that, but it's like it seems like Tencent's kind of like slipped under the cracks. So
I don't know how big Tencent like has pool in China. I think it's pretty big.
Yeah, because remember, Tencent has like a fucking monopoly over the gaming industry right now. Like it's not exactly, but they have their foot in a lot of video game companies.
I know they're the monopoly. Again, I know they're monopoly for anything China, like Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile. Again, mostly mobile shit.
Not even that. They got. I think
stock,
they have
right?
like Yeah, they have I think it was almost like 50% of Epic. They got stuff in Ubisoft, all of
Enix.
Riot,
Blizz-
all of
oh, yeah,
Riot.
they
and,
own-
like,
yeah,
League
they-
of Legends is like
They own Riot. They own a little bit, 5% of Blizzard, but again, they make, as we mentioned, they make a fuck ton of their decisions.
Yeah. They have a stock in Square Enix as well, right?
Yeah, it's. I remember last year when we talked about it, they tried, or again, it was like this isn't supposedly, but last year it was like supposedly Tencent was looking to buy up a major American publisher, and the supposed three were EA, Take Two, and then like I think not Ubisoft, but like yeah, they're like huge ones. They're
That's
like
fucking nuts.
like,
if they did that,
they're because that was kind of like I think the first major episode where I was like, yeah, fuck Tencent, because we talked about it when it broke the news a year ago.
Yeah.
That again, supposedly Tencent's looking to buy up Take Two, EA, or Ubisoft, and I was like, holy shit, and that's what I was saying. Like, is someone gonna like what the fuck? Because again,
please pay attention to this house that's burning down.
Because clearly, clearly to a point, this goes beyond like, oh, they're making shitty mobile games for kids, or to a point of like, oh, they're being a monopoly. It's straight up, this German company is saying we are worried that our technology will be used for military purposes in China. Like,
right?
What the fuck?
Yeah, kind of crazy stuff, man. And speaking of services, leaning back over to the Xbox side here, I don't care if that didn't segue well. Fuck you guys.
It's Xbox. Just not the segue. Puts a smile on my face.
Yeah. So speaking on the happy things in life, Xbox rather, there's some interesting conversation talking about how not every game needs to be a live service. So Xbox Studio boss says here in quote,
yeah.
Many games today are embracing live service approach where new content is regularly added to keep things fresh, but Xbox isn't making it a mandate for its developers to do this. Speaking to The Guardian, Xbox Studio boss Matt Booty, nice shout out to you, Matt Booty, said not every Xbox game needs to have a live service component, though many will. Says here in quote, we don't have any direction or mandate that says that every game has to be an ongoing, sustained game, he said. Booty pointed to Double Fine Psychonauts series as an example that it's not exactly the type of franchise that would associate with live service, and Booty expects that it would continue if the series grew beyond Psychonauts 2. In fact, Booty said there's no expectation that Double Fine makes another game in that series at all. In quote, it says here that there might be a Psychonauts 3, but I'm not going to tell designer Tim Schafer to go make it. Knowing the history of games that he makes, I don't think he's going to be making a game that has seasons that goes on for 5 years, Booty said. One of the benefits of buying many studios and franchises is that Microsoft can have its fingers in multiple pieces at the same time. While not every franchise from Xbox will be a live service, some will, including Sea of Thieves and Halo Infinite. I'm going to end there, end quote. So, I mean, I think this is to me, this is positive, because not every piece of video game or art, has to be a fucking 5-year series and a bunch of chapters within a season pass. And, like art can be just taken as art, I always equate this to like doing a sequel to Pulp Fiction 2. Why? Like, just keep Pulp Fiction the way it is, and Tarantino has constantly turned down people that wanted to make a sequel to Pulp Fiction. But just talking back in the game world, I think that's cool. Are they actually going to continue that, with other developers versus like, a Tim Schafer, which is a huge, a huge known developer in the industry. That will be yet to, remain to be seen. But what are your thoughts about this, Arthur?
I mean, what stood out is the fact they're interviewing a guy whose last name is Booty, and they use the phrase fingers in multiple places. That was on purpose. And for
this is my co-host, Preston.
I know.
Hey, what?
This is why this show works. Sorry, go on.
You made a lot of good points. His name is Booty, and they mentioned fingers. Like what? Like, they wrote that on purpose. They wrote it on fucking purpose. That's their favorite line in the whole world. I bet you right now. If you meet that person in the bar, like, oh, do you see that fingers joke? It was awesome. For me, live service is synonymous with microtransactions. Like when it was announced that the Square Enix Marvel's Avengers game was gonna be a live service, I'm like, other than being online and cooperative, like why does that game have any business being a live service game?
Yeah.
Oh, because none of the cosmetics are actual cosmetics. That when you get your gear, like, oh, I got a purple glove fireman, cool, Iron Man's gonna be purple. No, he's fucking red. You have to pay to be purple, because that's how they do now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with me is like live service is just more and more becoming synonymous with microtransactions because content's a vague word. So when they say they want to update content, they could just add 5 helmets that you pay $5 each for, and they say, look, writing content. Because and legally they're not wrong. You can't, that's not false advertising.
Yeah.
So, that's my thing when I hear live services promises future content. Oh, cool! More fucking blue guns.
What are your thoughts, Preston?
I give them kudos for even fucking saying it because I feel like games aren't meant to be like satisfied with anymore. Like I feel like they purposely make games so they can keep adding stuff in and keep making people pay for battle passes and all the other kind of shit. But like, what was I can't think of a game recently where I was like, well, no, I'm lying because Ghost of Tsushima was fucking amazing, but I was happy, when I finished it.
Right.
I didn't need any extra content.
Right. Like just a completed story.
Yeah. And then they added in a multiplayer for free, which was cool, thank you. But when games as a service, I feel like they dumb down everything just to like, oh, here, spend some more money for us. Because I feel like it benefits them more than us, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're spending less money on making a new game and just adding in a little bullshit for you to pay for.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Preston's definitely right. It's like they've done it down, they wrapped it in a bow and capitalized it.
Yeah.
It's funny you say there's only a handful of people working things. The one thing that made news is after the Apex and then Titanfall hack, because it was like people like, oh, you're gonna hack Apex or we're gonna hack Titanfall. Respawn made a statement of like, well, it's kind of hard to prevent these hacks because only 1 to 2 people are still working on Titanfall servers.
Oh my god.
What do you mean 1 to 2 people? Like, first of all, that's a horrible number. 2, what do you mean 1 to 2?
Yeah.
Is it 1 or 2?
That ratio doesn't make any sense too, especially if there's like a bunch of people on the fucking server. You don't have enough money in your payroll to hire another person or many persons.
Well, they have 1. They're still on the fence about hiring this part-time guy to full-time to be the number 2. But yeah, I just remember that was like a weird thing that there's a weird thing that news broke is like, we talked about Apex got hacked with like, thankfully it wasn't like again a quote unquote bad hack. It was just like, hey, save Titanfall.com.
Right.
And then people as a R word. I can't think of the fucking word. As retribution, people hacked Titanfall.
Yeah.
And said, go play it. Fuck you, go play Apex.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, what's with these servers being hacked on Titanfall? And it was like, yeah, we have 1 to 2 people working on it. It's not like we're on a multi-million-dollar fucking company.
Jesus.
Clearly, all the focus is like on the 2 guys making Apex fucking cosmetics.
Jeez, wild stuff, man. And so speaking of, we talk about Xbox. One of the most fun-loving things in today's world is Xbox Game Pass, the cloud storage, streaming these games via xCloud. Amazing things, and it seems like they're going to have a competitor here pretty soon, according to 9 to 5 Google. So it says here, the title of the article, GeForce Now supports streaming over 100,000 games from the cloud as of this week. Says here to continue on, it says as cloud gaming services expand, the number of games which service support its selling point for how much it can replace traditional hardware. Nvidia's GeForce Now has always had an advantage here, given how it works and how it gets to brag about crossing 1,000 games supported by the service. Thanks to its latest list of additions, it includes 13 new titles. Nvidia GeForce Now just surpassed 100,000 titles that can be streamed from the cloud to your device of your choice. That is by far the most games supported by any cloud service today. Google Studio has about 185, Amazon Luna has around 100, and Xbox Game Pass has around 269 titles available for streaming. In PlayStation Now, hundreds of games on its service. Nvidia, though, is the first to cross 1,000 supporting titles, putting it far ahead of the competition when it comes to variety. That is, of course, by design, though. GeForce Now streams games from custom hardware that essentially mimics a custom gaming PC. Virtually any game that's sold through Steam or Epic Game Store is technically capable of the service, and it just makes the developer's stamp of approval to allow the game to start streaming. It says here, what games are pushing Nvidia past this milestone? The latest batch of supported titles are included, such as The Immortal Mayor, Lost at Sea, Abduction, Alchemist, Retro Machinima, Space Colony, Tane Gale Conquest, Unity Command 2, Warframe, many others here. End quote. So, Arthur, it's interesting, right? Because Game Pass is kind of like the cream of the crop right now. Like, they know what they're doing. They made this cloud shit. You can play fucking Game Pass on an iPad. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy sauce. Now
You can play it on an iPad with a PS4 controller.
Exactly, the PS4 controller. But now you have people. Either it seems like people are starting, or these companies are slowly but surely starting to at least understand and or mimic potentially what Microsoft has done with its software. Now you have GeForce Now, which the biggest benefit of it is that it rolls into the Epic games, the Steam games, and all that stuff in order to get to that 1,000 title game. Do you see this being a potential Game Pass competitor when it comes to, people being on this service versus paying for a subscription through Microsoft?
Yes, I see this competitor. Because also, I didn't read this article of the Google Doc we sent. I kind of called it Nvidia.
I know, we just talked about the Shield.
Now, for those who don't remember Nvidia. Nvidia was the up and coming, I guess you can say to a point, innovator with an asterisk of having full-fledged games mobile. Now, I know you can say, oh, Arthur, Nintendo has been doing it. Yeah, well, fucking Pokemon on a bicycle doesn't count.
This is a graphics card company, too, so that's even more enticing.
Nvidia, like Microsoft, has the hardware to back it up.
Right.
So a couple things about this. One, Nvidia's been doing it. Nvidia's had their foot in the door with full-fledged mobile for a long time.
Yeah.
They have the hardware to back it up, and now they have the software licenses to have a good library.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I'm kind of curious about, but I think they'll do fine because I mentioned the hardware, is kind of like Google Stadia. How does it work?
Yeah.
Because Google Stadia was a laughable fucking failure of you hit spacebar and 5 seconds later jump. You know what I mean? Of latency issues, it doesn't fucking load, all this shit.
Yeah.
Google was throw money in it, fix a problem, and turns out no, it doesn't. But again, I'm questioning it, but I'm not on the skeptic side of oh, this is gonna crash and burn, because again, Nvidia has the graphics card hardware to potentially back it. Now, we mentioned before how this is where the industry is going. The industry, to a point, is going to shift towards streaming. Streaming a browser situation. Clearly, even Steam, their thing. A type of service like that. It just who's going to be able to support it, who's going to have what, and competition's good. This is good news for me, because if this does become a viable competitor, I'm going to be very curious of what Microsoft does a year from now to make me happier to not buy this.
Yeah.
So, competition.
What are your thoughts, Preston?
I don't know if they are going to be competition, honestly. Just because on PC, everybody's, maybe I'm wrong, because I know everybody's sick and tired of using different operating systems to get to all their games. So, if Nvidia could get more than just Steam to stream from, I feel like it could be interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't really know.
Here's another question, kind of the $1 million question. Who's gonna buy this?
Yeah,
right.
That's true, because Steam loyalists got the Steam tech deck.
Yeah.
People like me now on Microsoft side, I got xCloud. I can use whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And this is a rogue competitor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like someone is going to try to pay buku bucks for this.
Is there a price thing? Is there a price tag on it?
It's a great question. I don't believe there is. Talk about something as I look it up.
Because I think, yeah, because like that, if it was anybody other than Nvidia, I'd be like, this isn't a serious thing at all. But again, Nvidia has been quietly at this game for a while, and they switched to like, okay, you know, the market's not arguably ready, or they don't really want, you know, mobile stuff yet. Now that the market's exploded from just mobile anything, from, you know, Sudoku to fucking Doom. This might just be like almost like a leverage competitor.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
But I also kind of feel like mobile gaming, as much as everybody keeps trying to push it because of mobile phones, I don't think it's as popular as it was back in the day.
Not in the States.
Possibly, yeah. That might be it. Because like even with a Switch, while I never play it docked, I rarely ever play it docked. I'm not out in the street playing with my Switch. Like I use it for when I'm on the airplane, or you know,
trying to get them Pokemon.
I was gonna ask. You mean you don't get home, stop everything you're doing, and play it in your hallway?
Oh, like those commercials,
like, dude.
Like, I am not gonna do that.
That OLED commercial is like, I'm home. Let me sit in my hallway.
Yeah.
What? You're 20 feet from your fucking living room, dude.
or that kid that has the Vitas on a bus.
It's like it's mobile in the sense that I can play it in my bed without any cords.
Yeah.
Or I can play it on the fucking toilet, you know, like it's like that's how it's mobile for me. But it's like I don't feel like mobile gaming is like a really big thing outside of cell phones. And the only reason that is because cell phones is multi-use. If you feel like playing a game, just play a game real quick.
Yeah, I think you make an interesting point, Preston. I think mobile games definitely, when it comes to phones, that is the biggest version of mobile gaming. But I think streaming is interesting because it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be outside. You just have to have good internet access.
Be on the toilet.
Yes. And it looks like as far as for the GeForce Now membership, $8.99 monthly for the priority version of it, and then if you want to do the annual, it's $90.
Oh, they can advertise on face value. It's cheaper than Game Pass. So
yeah,
that's probably the reason behind that price point.
And speaking of companies that would potentially buy GeForce Now, if there's a company that would do it,
Tencent. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God, I hope not. These guys here, good old Netflix that we all know and love sometimes when they have good content. But to talk about the title of this article, it says here in quote, last topic of the show today, but a pretty interesting one at that. It says here in quote, Netflix reportedly expanding into video games within the next year. Says that games will be available at no extra charge to subscribers. We'll see how far that goes. But it says here in quote, that's according to a new report from Bloomberg, which cites people familiar with Netflix plans who claim that the company will offer video games through its streaming service starting next year in 2022. To head up these plans is former Facebook, Oculus, and EA mobile executive Mike Verdu. The report claims that Verdu has been hired at Netflix to spearhead a new initiative with the streaming company. And additionally, the video game offerings from Netflix will apparently be added as another genre alongside TV subgenres. Finally, the Bloomberg report claims that the addition of video games to Netflix won't come at an extra cost to subscribers. Like, again, we'll see, because they keep charging every year right now $1 extra. Thankfully, it would appear that Netflix has no current plans to charge extra for people looking to take advantage of its video game offerings, which is sure to welcome news and highly anticipating Netflix's new venture. This is the second such report that claims Netflix is looking to expand into video games. Earlier this year in May, a previous report claimed that the Netflix is actively approaching leaders in the video game space to helm their expansion into games. This new report from Bloomberg updates the report as it's firm to see the founder leader, Mike Verdu. Lastly, it says here, it's a pretty exciting time for Netflix and all. While the company has more blockbusters ever on film and TV streaming side of things like Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, Bridgerton, and the thought of Netflix taking up game streaming can potentially open up games to a massive audience at no extra charge. End quote. I have no idea why they, like, everyone fucking knows they're going to raise the price on this, for one.
Yeah, they mentioned it 3 times in the article. That's fucking concerning.
And then how like it's not like Mike Purdue's going to make the streaming service. Like he's obviously like probably a business strategist. He's probably like, hey, how can we make this work? You know, and they're probably going to say buy GeForce Now.
Nothing says content like a guy that used to work at EA Mobile. Question: how are they going to do this? Will my TV remote become a fucking controller?
Yeah, they would.
Like,
they would have.
Is it gonna be like Jackbox, like on my phone casting situation?
Yeah, they would have to sell. They would have to sell a controller. I mean, or they would have to have. The other option is that there would be some kind of compatibility that would work with Netflix via some type of software code thing or whatever it would be, or if it just responds like with like your USB to the television, Bluetooth, Bluetooth device. It's a great question.
The more I think about this, the more I think they're way over their fucking head on this shit. Like, this is gonna have to cost like a lot of money up front for licenses and shit.
I was about to say, are they using games that we already know and love, or are they like making their own games with like, you know, their originals shows and movies and shit like that?
Yeah, I mean, like 13 Reasons Why, the game.
Which I'm pissed how that fucking season ended. Shitty fucking last season of that.
But, I haven't seen it.
It was good to the last one.
But that's like, again, my thing is how it's like, are they going to have to like, Netflix is going to have to like reinvent its own technology for like a universal TV game controller? Like, again, like how are they going to, like, how?
And
like,
will their servers hold up with people watching stuff all damn day?
I'm having issues right now.
Playing.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you gotta refresh. You know, it's like what? Like the router's right there, right?
Don't worry. For server issues, we brought this guy from Nintendo.
That is funny.
Just
sounds kind of like what GameStop did.
Hey, all I can say is during Reggie's regime, most successful stock price in company history. Reggie, we need you, Reggie. Dude, I'm sad Reggie left before Nintendo Land opened. I would have loved to see Reggie like doing some like talking thing of like, here, featured on Nintendo, we like things to be fun, and he goes down a roller coaster or some shit. Like,
I saw him in person. I wish I shook his hand. I saw him in person at a conference.
There you go.
Yeah, Reggie.
But again, with this Netflix thing is like, this is just, again, you know, like we mentioned, words out. Games make money. AT&T is like, fuck it, we're buying Lego. We're buying. AT&T wants to buy of all the DC HBO shit. And then now it's like Netflix is like, well, we want games too.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that makes sense to me is that they would have to buy a company that knows what the fuck they're doing. Like that to me, that's the only thing that makes sense. If they think that they can create games with the people that they have, like, they're seriously mistaken. Another thing too, and I forgot about this and just reminded me, Netflix uses Amazon's cloud storage for their service. So,
and Amazon's made great games.
So, arguably, you might see something in the future where the Amazon Luna controller will work with Netflix. That would be my educated guess, just because their cloud storage on Netflix, they're already using Amazon's cloud storage. So it's probably going to be a connection with that. So that's the first thing, but that's not enough. Clearly, because they bought the Montreal studio, like an actual real video game studio, not their in-house people.
Wait, who? Amazon or Netflix?
Amazon.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But that's not enough. They need more, you know.
Yeah,
so
this has Google Stadia vibes of just throw money at it and throw money at it and make money from games.
Yeah, and I know
I think the only upper hand that they have against Google Stadia is that they've already been in the streaming game, kind of, just not video game.
Foot in the door.
Yeah.
Because I know, I did read an article where Stadia, the slight light at the end of the tunnel for Stadia is that Red Dead Redemption 2, they finally have it where like it works really well. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is a very demanding game, so I'll give them that. But obviously they have everything else needs to work really well. So we'll see.
All 12 people would be happy about that.
Yeah, I mean they have to they have to pretty much have people, they have to convince people, which is even harder than.
I mean, Amazon shot down Crucible, BioWare shot down Anthem. Google needs to let Stadia fucking die. Because here's one more thing to shit on Stadia, because it's never not funny. You remember here's how Stadia works. They have a subscription fee to use the Stadia, and you still have to pay for the fucking game.
Is that still the case? Did they fix that?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's why like it averages 12 fucking users. It's
I feel like 12 users aren't even like the people who helped develop the stadium.
It's like that.
Yeah,
it's like,
6 of them.
it's like that one. It's like that one sad.
That's funny.
It's like that one sad image of that Indian politician that only received 5 votes, but yet 9 of his relatives said they voted for him. So someone in his family fucking lied. It's just him crying on television. I was like, oh. And Stadia's like, yeah, we have 100 developers. You only have 12 fucking users.
Imagine him in a boardroom. So you guys all updated your Stadia, right? You guys renewed your subscription? Yeah. Somebody at this table is lying. We have 5 out of 20.
Dude, it's my... again, with this doesn't. The thing is too, because you mentioned Amazon, so they work with Amazon, dude. If these servers suck, it's like, dude, your fucking boss is going to the moon. How do your servers fucking suck?
Yeah,
Jeffrey Bezos.
I'm seeing here on their website here, there's a Stadia Pro version, and you get access to all the 10 games they have. No, I'm kidding.
Does it come with does it come with not director's cuts?
Yeah, I know, right? It says it's $10 a month. I don't see any other charges with it.
Yeah. Put that there. Look, right there.
Let's see.
You can also buy games individually. Right there, the very top line, right there.
But you can do that on Game Pass too.
But unless they changed it, that's how it was. Like when it launched. If they changed it
when it launched, yeah, that was ridiculous.
If they changed it
price
now,
model.
Fine, they fixed one fucking thing.
Yeah.
But that was the price model. It's like, okay, you have to pay for the hardware face value, then pay for the subscription fee.
Yeah.
And then pay for the fucking game.
Yeah. No, yeah, because that was originally definitely correct, and then obviously like a bunch of people left or fired, and they're trying to restore it. So finally they're like, oh, I guess we'll just eat the cost, and that would be $10 a month. Like you have to eat the cost some way, shape, or form. Like Microsoft is like, their subscribers is finally like, I think probably hitting some type of like a break-even process, because I know they said their games, they sell every console at a loss. So I can't imagine with Stadia as far as like how much money they're putting into all this shit, and then they're charging $10 a month for the pro version.
Let's say
they're getting $120 a month,
dude. It's like the GameStop profit margin for every console GameStop sells $5.
Yeah, they get like $5. Yeah, like
yeah, dude. They need
when
to.
I found that out, that was fucking ridiculous.
They need to sell. Maybe Netflix needs to collaborate with Stadia and buy other people that know what they're doing and know what they're doing.
Well, because you mentioned it's funny you mentioned buy people who know what they're doing, as a cat found something to knock over. Well, someone who's known for fixing companies. No, it used to be a part of a worldwide corporation.
Reggie. Shout out to Reggie, man.
Dude, if you
technically fixing companies.
One day, my mission on this podcast, we will have Reggie on the show, some way, shape, or form, discussing something.
Dude, I mean, I'll put that shit on my resume. It's like, during my time, record-breaking stock prices. Wasn't that because of Reddit? They'll stare during doesn't make it not true. But yeah, again with this, it just has Stadia vibes of throw money at it to make games.
Yeah.
I mean, I just still can't picture what are they gonna do. Is it gonna be like the classic click and point shit? Like those $10 computer games of like the mystery, like click here, there's a butterfly, and there's a butterfly socket
on Netflix.
Yeah,
I hope they're smarter than that. I think it's going to be similar to, remember a smart glass, Xbox smart glass? Remember when that was a thing? It was like you
Barely.
could use your phone as a remote for the Xbox, and they tried and like move things between it because there's probably going to be some.
Yeah.
You guys remember that? There's going to be some type of connection between like, oh, you have to have the Netflix app or and this and some type of bullshit connection.
You know what? I think you just called it. I think it's gonna be like an app thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
We'll
what?
see.
I think it's again. I think it's gonna be like a kind of like a Jackbox thing. If like your TV shows one thing, your phone shows something else.
Yeah. So we'll see. We will see, folks. And that totals out the news here today for the Gamers for Life podcast. I want to thank Preston.
Yeah.
Always happy to be here, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for being on the show. It's been a minute. And thanks for talking with us on this crazy news. Crazy ass fucking
this is
news.
like the fucking first time in months, and it's
been a minute.
2 hours, dude.
It's been a minute. Hey, you had to have your time worthwhile.
Shout out to Preston's bladder.
Yeah.
I wasn't drinking this time.
You said this time?
This time.
That's funny.
Cool. Time for a quick break. Sweetie, take a piss. No, that's
No, not a real break.
that's just for editing. That's not.
Wait,
We didn't even get a break at this one, did we?
No, man. No, we just
we just
all
went
the
through
way,
it.
all the way, man. All right, folks. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us here in the Gamers for Life podcast each and every Saturday, discussing all things games. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrell, and my co-host Arthur Thomas.
That's me.
All right, guys. Thank you. We will see you next week.